Welcome back, Goddess of Genesis fam. Today's video is kind of sad. We woke up today to the news that Goddess of Genesis, the SEA version, so the Southeast Asia version, is going to be shutting down 1 month from today. So on June 10th, they're going to be shutting down the servers, and then players of that game are no longer going to be able to log in and play the game. Their characters are going to be gone. They are going to be giving some compensation on May 13th, and it looks like if you play other games by Zlong Games, such as Langrisser, SEA, or La Place, you can apply for some kind of compensation where they'll give you the reward in the other game if you play that. It's kind of weird. But anyways, this news about Goddess of Genesis being shut down applies to the SEA version only. It does not apply to Goddess of Genesis S if you're playing on the global server. So if you're a little confused about all the different servers, let me go over it one more time. Essentially, there are three servers of Goddess of Genesis. The first one is the Chinese server, which came out first. And then there's the Southeast Asia server, which came out 5 months after that. And then there's the global server, which is the one that I'm playing on, which came out 5 months after SEA. So as you can see, there's three servers here. The middle server, SEA, is being shut down in a month. And that leaves the remaining two servers being Chinese and global. So what does that mean for us? Well, a lot of our information that I was pulling from the predicted banner schedule was coming off of the news of SEA. So with that being gone, it's going to be harder for us on the global server to know exactly what's coming in the next 5 months. Now we're going to have to look at the Chinese server, and unfortunately I don't speak Chinese, but they are 10 months ahead of us, and I do have access to the Chinese website. I can at least find out what heroes are coming, but I'm not going to have information as easily on things like the equipment and like game modes that are coming out. Now, if you're worried, I'm sure a lot of you are, of okay, well, if SEA just shut down, is global going to shut down next? And the short answer to that is I don't think it's going to shut down anytime soon. If you look at this data, I don't want to go too deep into this, but I'll just try to do a quick and dirty version. If you look at the revenue that the SEA server of Goddess of Genesis was making, according to the website sensortower.com, which I can link in the caption, the SEA version was pulling in about 30K a month, and Goddess of Genesis S, the global version, was pulling in about 80K a month, so almost 3 times what the SEA server was doing. And the healthiest server is the Chinese server, which is bringing in more than double what the global server is. So in the short term, like the global server is doing okay for now, but I wouldn't be surprised if it eventually gets shut off if that revenue starts to drop. Now, in comparison, the game that I originally played from Zlong Games was Langrisser, and if you look at how much money that is pulling in, it's doing considerably better than Goddess of Genesis. So Langrisser has been around for over 2 years now. I'm still playing it. I have 2 accounts playing Langrisser. So if you are playing, say, Goddess of Genesis on the SEA server, and you're upset that your game is no longer going to be available, and you want to know, what other options you have, you could jump onto Langrisser, because I think Langrisser, it's going to be available in SEA or global, and it's been around for a long time. It's still pretty healthy. If you look at how much money it's making more money than Goddess of Genesis, and it has a very healthy community. The games are very similar. The playstyle is very similar. There's a lot more heroes in Langrisser, and the game balance, I think, is better than Goddess of Genesis. So if you're looking for an alternative to Goddess of Genesis, there is Langrisser. Now, another thing I want to point out is Zlong recently released another game called Kalpa of the Universe. It just came out March 11th, so that's like 2 months ago in China, and already it's making $7 million per month, which, if you compare that to what they're making in from like Langrisser and Goddess of Genesis, you go from 200,000 to 2 million to 7 million. So Kalpa of the Universe is very popular and it's making a lot of money right now in China. Now, that released 2 months ago in China, and if you look at the way Zlong has traditionally done their games, about 5 months after the release of the Chinese version, they open up another server, whether that's SEA or global. So I predict we will get a version of Kalpa of the Universe that can be playable in English. It may be SCA, it may be global, but it should be arriving sometime around August. And I think, like, my personal prediction, and this is just speculation, is that Goddess of Genesis as global is probably going to be around at least until August, at which point I most likely I'm going to be switching over to Kalpa of the Universe, unless something happens with Goddess of Genesis. But I predict that's my personal plan is I'll probably play GOG until Kalpa comes out. And it looks like that game is very popular. It's got a lot of buzz and people are really happy about it. They're comparing it to like a new version of Langrisser, like with the shiny coat of paint. So that's where we're at with three of Zlong's games, Goddess of Genesis, Langrisser, and Kalpa of the Universe, which should be coming out later in English. What are your plans for the game? Are you going to continue playing Goddess of Genesis? Are some of you going to switch over to Langrisser? Are some of you planning to play Kalpa of the Universe? Let me know in the comments. And if you are a player of Goddess of Genesis on the SEA server, you are more than welcome to play the global version or switch over to Langrisser, which should be a good alternative. Okay, good luck. Have fun, everybody.